You are listening to the Milan Weekly Podcast, the English voice of Radio Rossonera and Milan fans all over the world.
Sensational from him. Rafael Leao produces a moment of utter magic.
Theo Hernandez al gol! Theo Hernandez! Ancora lui! Una meraviglia!
Ibrahimovic! Zlatan Ibrahimovic! Fuori classe assoluto!
It's Monday night and we are live. Stevie P, good evening to everybody. And Steve, it's been for several weeks. We don't even talk. We go straight into the podcast. Anything to say before we get we're shooting?
Straight. Welcome to everybody.
Cari amici sportivi, welcome yet to another edition of the Milan Weekly Podcast. Here where we talk everything Milan, where, God forbid, they give us something to celebrate after 2 weeks off Milan. And let the finger pointing begin, Milan. And when we're not professionals.
Nor do we pretend to be.
And yes, it's been 2 weeks off, Stevie P. First, let me ask you, how was your Easter? To everybody that celebrated the happy Easter. Lots of lamb, Stevie P. How was your Easter?
Yeah, so COVID-style Easter. I had mom over. My mom came over. We made some agnello.
But your mom lives by herself, so she's okay.
Yeah. We made some agnello on the barbecue, marinated nicely.
Very nice. Very nice. I fell asleep on the couch because I had a couple of glasses of wine without eating. I thought I could handle it, but I could not handle it. So, but agnello it was as well for me. And in all, guys, happy Easter to everybody. On any housekeeping stuff, Steve, that we need to talk about, or we just need to get it straight to like this game that we saw. I just want to say thank you to Kubani and Rafa for and to you, Steve, for letting me. Thank you. The boyhood dream comes true. Letting me talk about wrestling and Serie A. Thank you for that. Thank you to the Patreon members coming on Friday. Try to do something for even the non-North Americans at 6 p.m. We're going through some headlines, but Steve, thank you, and hopefully maybe one day you can come on and talk wrestling.
No, we'll not do that. But Kubani looked like he was hunting for polar bears.
He was screaming. He was yelling. He's like, I don't have a computer. I don't have a laptop. COVID. I'm like, whatever, stereo Serie A. But you saw that he got banned from Twitter like from last May because he shared a Alphonso Davies video.
Oh my God.
Since May last year, Steve. They banned him from sharing a Bundesliga video. It's like, I feel bad for the guy, but in the end, he was playing a heel, so I don't feel bad at all. Stevie P, before we get into the game, I just wanted to go through. I found this nice little post here on Facebook, and I wanted to ask you what you thought of this. You know, people have been shitting on Milan fans, obviously, first of all. You know, how we've been playing and how, oh my God, we're not going to make fourth place. And I wanted to ask you about this. We are, you know, at second place right now with the amount of points that we have. 29 games, Barcelona, 65 points. Milan at 29 games at 60 points. Paris Saint-Germain at 31 games at 63 points. Manchester United, 30 games, 60 points. And they even show Red Bull Salzburg at 27 games with 57 points. Steve, are people pressing the panic button too fast? Is it just the Milan fans? And we're going to get into this game, but I found this kind of interesting where, you know, you've been saying since the beginning, Steve, manage your expectations. You know, we want to do Champions League. Obviously, the result was not what we're looking for, but are you still at the same point where you were like maybe 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, where it's like, look, I'm still going for top four, and so far so good?
I will be there till the end. I will be with that stance till the end. For me, it's top four. The panic button, not right now. Do I like to see the performances like we saw against Sampdoria? No. But at a certain point, the hand will be on the panic button because you cannot continue to slip like this, right? There's X number of games left and X number of points that you can accumulate. Will there be other teams that have a lull like this and drop points? Oh, you saw Juventus drop points to Benevento. Like if you go through the calendar and you look back, yeah, you'll find where teams that are fighting for this top 4 have lost points against the Spezias, the Beneventos, the Fiorentinas, the teams that we should win against if you want to make that top 4. But in the end, it's going to count to what is the final result in May. What are the final standings in May? So, we had this international break. Everybody knows I do love international, the international side of things. I follow the Azzurri very carefully. I did say, and I don't know, I thought about it at the time. I thought it was a good time for Milan to have 2 weeks off, right? But it seems like the more time we have off, and I hope from now to the end of May, there's no more time off, because this team seems like every time they get some sort of break, it's like we're starting again. We're starting the car all over again for the first time after letting it sleep throughout the winter, right? So it takes a little bit of time to get it warmed up.
No, it definitely. I think we all felt this, down coming soon, but we felt that maybe these 2 weeks off. It's not like half our team were on international duties. Nobody came back hurt. Seems they were okay, and in the end, we paid for a mistake. And Steve, I know I like to joke around with you, saying, "Hey, Steve, I'm taking notes like a real podcaster," and what I've written down, and then I stopped because I was so pissed off. Very shaky first 8 minutes, lots of corners for Sampdoria. And at the 24-minute, what a save by Gigio, still looking shaky. And at this point, I believe that Sampdoria had 3 or 4 corners. And I'm looking at this game and I'm like, okay, we just need to hold on. It just seems like, we're having this shaky start. Sampdoria is not capitalizing on their chances. And then was that I don't remember his name from Sampdoria, like a Scandinavian name. 24th minute, Gigio with the fantastic save, and that's where I felt like, okay, you know what, it's done. We're gonna get back, and then they seemed to get back into the game, especially at the end of the first half. But take me through your feelings, Steve, of what you saw there in that, especially in the first half.
Yeah, so again, that first 25 minutes, unfortunately for me, it was like, oh, why? Why, after such a long break for some of these players, that they come out like flat? I didn't understand. Like, it's hard to understand. It's not like Fiorentina, with all due, Sampdoria, with all due respect to them. It's not like they have these game breakers, besides Quagliarella, who, can break the game open with a type of goal that you saw off a mistake. He's someone who's a poacher, and he'll take advantage of those mistakes. Milan, for some reason, and it boggles my mind. At home, they have this strange. I don't want to even call it laziness. It's hard to explain. It's like this very nonchalant way of going about the game that on the road I've seen less of. And in 2021, we've seen a little bit more of it. But they have to understand that nothing is given. They don't walk onto the pitch against Sampdoria and you're automatically gifted 3 points. That's not going to happen.
Especially this time of the year, and we know that every game is going to be a battle. But Steve, how about looking at the starting lineup and seeing, yes, we know Sausage Maker is, bought as a right back. And how are you feeling about the selection? Because, we're talking about finger pointing, right? People can finger point at Pioli. People can finger point at the players. People can finger point at Theo. I know we're going to get into Theo soon, but were you okay with the starting selection? And what does that say about guys like Kalulu or Della? We know we're not going to keep him, but how did you feel, seeing the starting lineup?
Look, I was surprised to see Salchicha Maker at right back, but he has to. He fields the best, I believe. That Pioli sees whatever practices are going on and whatever who's in form and who's not in form, and will field the best starting 11 that he possibly can. I believe that. I don't know at this point in time. He's not picking and choosing.
We're not at the when they're training center, or like there's got to be a reason why he put him up there, right?
There has to be, and I don't dive into too much the selection. Should he not? Like, these guys are professionals. I think that for some reason, that mentality, that cattiveria, that extra gear that they need to get into when it's games like this, you have to try to navigate these games a bit better. You're not going to play perfect 38 games out of the year. People think, there's flawless play for 38 games. No one plays flawlessly for 38 games. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him, Salchicha Maker, we know, the guy is all heart. This game doesn't end. That's what I try to explain to people. This game doesn't end 1-1 because we started Salchicha Maker at right back.
No.
That we put Krunic on the left hand.
We didn't show up.
Exactly.
Krunic was a savior a month ago, right? Oh my God, what a goal!
Exactly. We go from week to week, where 1 week he's a savior, and the next week I can't believe he started. Well, he goes, and Pioli needs to make those decisions, those tough decisions. Is he going to be right all the time? No. Was he right this week? We don't know, guys, because I truly believe this game doesn't end 1-1 because Salchicha Maker is at right back or Krunic is at left. It ends 1-1 because Milan didn't come into this game with the mentality needed to take 3 points.
And Sampdoria dominated. Yeah, but Sampdoria dominated us like in the first 10 minutes, guys. They completely dominated us. And like you were saying, Steve, I got to agree with you. Is like, whether it be starting Castillejo, starting Salamakers, not starting Rebic, I don't think the result, the what we saw in the first 10 minutes would have changed. And that's where lies the problem. So are we pointing the finger at Pioli? Or are we pointing the fingers at the players? Even Presidente Kessi did not have the greatest of game. He did well, but he didn't have the greatest of game.
Sometimes you just have to take off the Milan glasses and you have to say, today we sucked. And against Sampdoria, we sucked, top to bottom. And I'm gonna just keep Gigio in there just to make sure that we're a complete group on this, because you win with 11 players and you lose with 11 players.
Yes.
He will save us from time to time. The 25th minute save is one of those saves that I've said multiple times. It's the save that we need from him, and he's delivered multiple times. Against Sampdoria, guys, it's inexcusable to come out flat like that. Inexcusable, especially that you're playing a Sampdoria team that has struggled this year.
Yeah.
You're able to take these 3 points. You're able to keep pressure on Inter, even though I've said it multiple times. I don't think we can catch Inter. But you keep on collecting points as the ones behind us collect points. That's what's important. That's what's important to me. Because you see, Milan drops points. Atalanta doesn't drop points. Lazio doesn't drop points. We got lucky, to be very honest with you, that Juve dropped points.
And Inter, even though they didn't play well, they still got the 3 points, guys. And in the history books, you're going to look at it. It's going to look at Inter uno, and they got those 3 points there. So the differences between these kind of teams, like, look, yes, they're 8 points ahead. They're playing on Wednesday. Napoli against Napoli and Juve are playing on Wednesday. Sassuolo and Inter are playing on Wednesday. Yes, you know what? You know what's going to happen, Steve? Both teams are probably going to tie or favorable, and all Milanistas are going to start believing again. Guys, I know we had some fun with, David Fanta's bus, and, we need to believe in something like, but let's keep our feet on the ground and let's keep up this race for top 4, because Napoli's creeping up there, guys. Atalanta's creeping up there. Juventus guys, as much as we like to make fun of Juventus, Juventus is still Juventus, right? So who knows? They can go on a 9-game winning streak. Who knows what these teams can pull off, right? And hopefully, everybody's making compliments about your man bun, Steve. I know you're in with the times with the man bun, but hopefully today's news of supposedly, Steve, we've resigned Ibrahimovic for an extra year. If we need to believe everything we've read so far, hopefully it's a good sign for things to come. But in the end, the result on Saturday, even though, oh my God, if Kessie would have scored, we hit the post, guys, we shouldn't have been in that position to start with. Steve, I don't know if
I would have took the 3 points. I didn't care.
I thought 100%, right? But
Kessie has to score, but that's what sets Kessie aside. You understand? So, like, when I see the comparisons, like, if you're gonna be, and I'm Team Frank all the way.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be considered that top midfield, you have to score those goals. Like, hitting the post is not. Oh, it's unlucky.
We know that that's the way the game was going.
The way the game was going. Yes, and sometimes you're lucky or not, but the world class will score that, and the world class set themselves apart because they score those goals, right? And it's not dissing on Frank Kessie. Sometimes you say, you just didn't lose the game. You went out there and you got lucky and you won. And it could have happened to Milan, an inch to the right, and we're talking about 3 points undeserved, but 3 points nonetheless.
What would have taken?
Right? But now, instead of talking about 3 points undeserved, we're talking about that we dropped 2 points, and Atalanta did not.
We definitely dropped 2 points. And Steve, I want to ask you about, it's easy for me to say now, Theo Hernandez. I know we've been somewhat critical on him, maybe in the last couple of months. We paid for our mistake. We paid for his mistake. And I keep on thinking back to, if this ball was going to go completely, outside and completely off, nobody will be talking about this today. But it seems like it's a continuation of stuff, and I'm thinking back at the finish of the first half when he took that great run. Who was on the side there, Steve? Was it Kessie? He just seems like his head is down, right? And he's just trying to do everything by himself. And now that he's not scoring, now that he got us used to being no phenomenal, like we've been, people have been describing him. Are people too harsh on him? But this is on him, is it not? If we have to point fingers, is this on him?
Look, everybody makes a mistake, guys. You guys do have to remember the last time we played in Sampdoria, what happened to Gigio Donnarumma. These things like this will happen. Again, and I'm not saying, again, this is what we try to communicate via the Milan Montreal club chat, is that we didn't tie this game because we gave away a ball in the midfield like Theo Hernandez did and they scored. I'm going to be, again, like I'm not looking for excuses, but
we got penalized on our mistake.
We got penalized by our mistake. It's happened to, this was a blatant and a real, like, wow, your head's not in the game if you're making that pass, or, communication with the back four is not as perfect as we thought it was. And, people make mistakes and they're less evident than what we saw from Theo Hernandez, and you go down 1-0 and you show that mentality to come back and tie the game, and the mentality to come back and win the game multiple times, hundreds and hundreds of times. So people that are looking at Theo Hernandez and saying, oh, you know what, we tied the game because of him. Not really, right? It's a collective effort, because there was still time to play. There was still time to resolve the issue. And what we still haven't mentioned, and it's even worse, is that Sampdoria stupidly went a man down.
Thank you, Steve, because I completely forgot about that. We were, 30 minutes with a man up?
Yeah, and, so there's no excuse here, guys.
And yes, you can talk about Hulk Hauge and, scoring that goal. I don't get why he doesn't start as much as he's supposed to start, but Steve, would you start him a bit more? Like, do you have maybe a reason why? He's not ready?
He's not ready. Because if he doesn't score that goal, we're still talking about, the subs that we brought in didn't give us much more. And that's the scary part, right? Because
Rebic gave a bit more. Rebic gave a bit more, Steve.
Okay, but not enough, right? So it's a community. I'm with everybody. I'm pissed at everybody. So I'm pissed at the point that, Hogue, he scores that goal, and magically, I don't understand why he doesn't start more. Guys, if you watch the game from the moment that he got in, okay? Guys, Hogue got outplayed by Candreva. Per l'amor di Dio, Candreva, guys. This is the big problem, guys. Candreva, he's past his prime. He's playing at Sampdoria for a reason. He's not playing at Inter for a reason, guys. So let's be honest with ourselves. And, the Hogan, they need time to develop. Same thing with Leao. Same thing with, the Diaz trying to get into the league and trying to establish himself. They do need the time. But you see in his game the immaturity, you understand? Like trying to take someone on. This is, again, it's no disrespect to Europa League and who we played in Europa League. The competition is different. Serie A is a very tough league to play.
But he deserves a chance to start.
No, because Rebic starts. You guys, you cannot take.
No, that's true. No, you're right. And you know what? Even Facebook Frank saying it, like we completely even mentioned it, is like it took us 27 minutes a man up just to put our first shot on goal. We hadn't had a shot on target until like in the second half, Steve, and that's alarming, is it not?
But that's what I've been telling you. It's only normal once Sampdoria gets down a man. You saw they were 9 players behind the ball. And Milan has trouble with that. Milan has trouble breaking down teams when they put 9, 7, 8 people behind the ball, and we have to do something in that final third. We're fast up until we get to the final third. Once we get to the final third, we stall. There's something that happens to their brain. Nothing works. Nothing happens.
Like Castillejo.
Look, guys, Castillejo, we've said it since the winter mercato. There needed to be an upgrade at the right wing. We chose not to. Unfortunately, there's not much more I can say.
We got to eat it.
Speaks for himself. You eat it now, and you hope that he scores a goal or two here toward the end of the season to make him worth his price.
All 140 pounds of him, right? But in the end, Steve, I know we have Saturday at noon, Parma, I believe. We have, in all honesty, Steve, these 9 last games, we need to win them all. Even if we're playing Juventus, we need to win them all. There's no other choice, is there? To guarantee we're doing 4th spot, we need to win. Maybe lose 1 out of these 9 remaining, but there's no other choice.
You have to keep up. You have to keep up with what the other teams are doing. 9 games in a row is very hard to win, guys. It's going to be hard to win for the other teams too. But
exactly.
It's the final results. Like we have this comment team. I love these guys. These guys are the best. You don't develop on the bench, though, Steve.
Nor do you develop players by removing them from the... Okay, guys, I get...
You have to make decisions, though, as a team. There's a lot of things. You just think that they chose Hoge.
Pioli is... Let me take this into context, right? And Pioli... Since October 9th, 2019, Steve, 42 wins, 23 ties, and 14 losses. When have we seen that from? So I know that we can question his, picking of the players, but Steve, who are we? We had a little mishap in the Milan club chat and are you a Milanello, whatever, but we're not there. And if Pioli's been able to bring us results that we have not seen in the last 10 years of Milan, if that's the decision that he's made, just like, why Salad Makers is starting on the right back position, why Samu starting instead of Hogg, there's got to be a reason, right?
There has to be a reason, guys. You don't develop on the bench, but you learn on the bench. You learn. You learn. There's a lot of learning that happens on the bench. There's a lot of things that, you know what, things that you should be picking up, things that you should learn. I have been for the whole season very critical of Leao, and I got ripped on this podcast, other podcasts, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. People even came to my house and knocked on my door. Why are you shitting on Leao? Because Leao is one of those players who's raw, has a ton of talent, but has the soccer IQ of a fucking peanut. And you've seen it, guys. It's the truth, guys. And you can send me by emails of, you know, physical talent and moves and, you know, compilations of back heels. I couldn't give a flying fuck, to be very honest with you. And it's the same thing with players like Hoj. You know, they come from a league that unfortunately is lesser than that of Serie A. And when you come to Serie A, it's the university of soccer. So if you sit on the bench, you will develop. You will develop. Yes, I agree you need to play, but there's only X amount of games, guys. And right now, what he has to do and his job and what he's paid for, Pioli has to pick the best starting lineup that he sees that week. That week, guys.
It's as simple as that.
If he is experimenting, then, guys, what do you want me to tell you? I'm not the coach. I personally would not experiment at this point here. But you have to deal with injuries. You have to.
He would have looked like a genius, right? Who would have won this game?
Yeah, like exactly. Like we can't say, oh, he's a genius when things go right, and then he's an idiot when things go wrong. Football doesn't work that way. You know, and I get mad when people say, oh, but he won't develop if he doesn't play. Yeah, he's gonna develop. Yeah. He will. If he's and he looks like a smart player. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He has that potential. He has that, he has that, but it's gonna take time. And Milan, we don't give that time, guys.
And when we do give the time, people complain. How come he's not as good as we're supposed
exactly.
to?
So, this is something that you guys have to wrap your heads around. And I'm no football guru here, but I love the game and I watch. You watch 27 minutes of that game, Zion train, you too. You're going to say, Steve got it wrong about Hog. Yeah? Zion, go watch that game. He got played by Candreva. Candreva, guys. Candreva. Per l'amor di Dio.
With
These
that
people,
slick
they
back
make me
hair.
think that I'm crazy. Candreva took the kid to school, guys. Hey, you want to make fourth place and you're getting outplayed by Candreva. Zion, go watch the game again, buddy. I don't want to be insulting here, but come on.
You got to watch that game. But Stevie P, a few months back, we're having a bit of fun with our friends supporting the podcast, and now officially a sponsor. So Stevie P, I would like to ask you, right? We had given this to the Juventus of the world because they needed to revive their season. But I believe that Milan right now needs the MANSCAPED Reviver. That is part of the Perfect Package 3.0 that comes, Stevie P, with 9,000 RPM MANSCAPED. I know you've been using it. I've been using it as well. There is the preserver that comes into this package. There comes with the travel package, the newspaper, that you got to put your bush, because some people still have a bush, Stevie P. But very, very happy to announce that this episode is sponsored by MANSCAPED. As you can see, look at it. You got bush. So use the MWP, and thank you to everybody that's actually used the code. Great feedback from MANSCAPED over there. It seems like leave it to Marcello, Stevie P, to find an Italian at MANSCAPED, emailing back and forth. But guys, thank you very much to anybody that supported the MWP code. But have a look, guys. manscaped.com.ca, shipping to Canada, shipping to US. The Perfect Package is your best deal. It comes in una bella parte di mutande, Steve. I'm wearing them right now. Very comfortable t-shirt as well. I know that you've dabbled in the Manscaped stuff. If you could just describe the taking it into the shower, maybe.
Yeah, so look, it's a great product, guys. I don't lie when I do things like this. If it would be something that I wouldn't use, I wouldn't recommend it to you guys there. So, they are the premium product for anything grooming underneath the waist. That's for sure.
There are.
But
follow the instructions, TVP.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really funny when I go cut my hair and everybody sees my fantastic hair here.
Beautiful.
A couple of weeks ago, the beautiful lady who cuts my hair, Josie down the street, she told me, like, Steve, you gotta take care of the ears and the nose hairs. You can't give up on yourself just because you're 40, right? So Manscaped does have the Weed Whacker, which is again another 9,000 RPM motorized powered 300-degree blade that you could jab it up your nose and it cuts your goddamn nose hairs.
Not just your nose hairs, your goddamn nose hairs.
Once you clean it up, you wipe it down, you change the blade, and you could jam it in your ears to take out the ear hair that you have around the ear. So it's a fantastic product. Works in the shower.
I gave it to my dad, Steve. I told you. And my father, ma non tira troppo. Sa bello nice. He puts it in there. It cuts off everything. So thank you to Manscaped and MWP, gentlemen, for that code. Thank you for them for sponsoring this episode. But we need to get back, Steve. I have a little surprise for you, Steve. I have a little surprise for you. Are you ready? Are you ready? It is Serie A time, and Presidente was very happy to give us the. Let me just pop up the standings here in Serie A, because I know you had you did watch most of these games here as TVP, and let's have a quick look and see what we got. So now I don't know what these ads are. These crazy T-shirts. I guess I've been searching for T-shirts on the thing, but. Let's go to Atalanta Udinese. Steve, I don't know if you had a chance to watch this game or any thoughts.
Well, just the highlights there. Look, guys, this is what we have to be worried about, right? So, when I say Pioli's job is to pick that's best starting 11 per week, it's exactly for that reason. This team here, look, I'm not an Atalanta fan. Everybody who's listening to the podcast for the past year, I am not an Atalanta fan. I respect what the club does, but I hate the living shit out of Atalanta. They just piss me and rub me the wrong way. But they get the shit done, right? And Udine did not give up. It was back and forth this game. Even when Atalanta took that 3-1 lead, they still came back and made it close. But those are the types of games that unfortunately, the Sampdoria game where we drop points and tie and they win, right? So that's +2 for them. But look, they get it done, and now with the same amount of competitions, everybody's concentrating on Serie A. We have to be careful at Atalanta nipping at our heels, and that's why it's very important to not drop points.
Taking over Lazio winning. I don't think that's anything surprising. Stevie P winning 2-1. I know there was a penalty there at the last second from Montpellier. If I'm not, or maybe I'm getting confused with the Italy game. But Napoli winning, right? Roma on stutter.
Lazio was a penalty, but it was not Immobile.
It was not Immobile.
Last minute Consento or their super sub that they bring in all the time. But that's the thing with Spezia played the game of their life against Milan to really crush any dream that we had of getting close to that Scudetto or keeping that first place. It was the game, I think it was the game, I don't even remember anymore, game before the derby where we needed to keep those points before going into the derby. And Spezia played the game of their life. Then they give Lazio a hard time, but the last minute penalty, and again, Lazio gets the points. And we drop points. I'm going to say that throughout the whole standings.
Yes, thank you guys for correcting. But Steve is going to pronounce the names the way he wishes to pronounce names. And who said, Mike, I'd rather have Candreva over Hakan any day. Mike, I can understand your frustration with Hakan, but no, I would not take Candreva over Hakan on that one. Napoli, Steve, with lots of goals coming up with the win. they needed to win, right? There was no other choice for Napoli to stay into that hunt. I don't know if you caught a bit of this game against Crotone.
Again, just watching the highlights of this one because they were all at the same time, right? So very hard to watch 7 games in a row. But I went back at this, and I was just interested to see that Crotone actually came back and how they came back to tie Napoli, right? So, this is the things that make me laugh, right? So, Napoli had a 3-1 lead, guys, and Crotone came back and tied Napoli. So, for a certain amount of time, Napoli was dropping points as well. But they find that extra gear to win.
That's what we failed.
And I'm not saying that Milan has not done this over the past year, and when we went on that run, but now they're doing it when it really counts, right? And again, it's all about dropping points and not dropping points. So I think Insigne was great. Oshiman was good too, and Insigne coming off international duty, and Pezzo de Pan Andrea, he does say it. Simi from Crotone. That guy's a goal machine. When Crotone scores, it's usually him who scores.
And I tried. We tried to play FIFA with Jan. I tried to pick we did Benevento versus Bologna, and next time, Steve, I will pick Crotone. Maybe I'll be scoring some more goals. Roma not getting it done. 2-2 against Sassuolo. Hopefully, Sassuolo brings up that performance against Inter this Wednesday. I don't know if you have any comments on that before we get into the Derby della Mole.
Of all the games, this is the game that I watched, and I really thought that Roma was going to lose this game, to be very honest with you. Sassuolo did everything but score. Then Roma got a penalty shot, deserved penalty shot. But there's something terribly wrong at Roma. I just don't think that their heads are in it anymore. Their defense is in shambles. If anybody ever compares Milan's defense to Roma's defense, they're not watching the same soccer, whether you're a Romanista or a Milanista, because that defense is just something it's almost double A defending. I'm not lying, Vinny. I'm not trying to be harsh. It's I watched the game. It's like, as a Roma fan, you cringe every time. If I was a Roma fan, every time Sassuolo got the ball, I was cringing that I was going to lose those points.
And they didn't get it done, right? So we'll see where Roma ends up at the end of the season. But Steve, Derby della Mole, for once, I actually believed, Steve, for about 6 seconds, is Torino going to win this game? Because we haven't seen Torino win. And then there was the wait, it's an offside. Let me go check. Oh, actually, it was a goal, and they ended up 2-2. But Steve, we didn't really poke fun Andrea Pirlo at the beginning because we didn't want to burn our bridges, and who knows if he comes out good. But in the end, this is not a team that's going to win you Champions League. This is not a team that's going to win you the Serie A, right? It just in the end, I think it was a fair result, 2-2. They both had chances on both ends, but I don't see this team. I don't see this team now. They're saying Lippi. They're going to bring back Lippi to help Pirlo and this. But even looking at the starting lineup, Steve, this is not a team that's going to win you. Forget Champions League. They're not going to win you the Serie A.
Yeah, so this is a bit on my brioche of the week my indigestion of the week. I'm going to give it to McKinney, Dybala, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Arthur as well. These guys, the international break, and Italy is in complete red zone for COVID, and they decide that it was going to be a good idea to throw a party. Now, guys, I get, McKinney, he's American. I'm not sure if he understands American? Italian yet.
He's American McKinney. I thought he was
McKinney is American. I'm not sure if he understands Italian yet. I hope so.
He knows about the delletta.
Exactly, and he should know that they're in a COVID pandemic. Dybala, it's just not for him. Life this year is just a write-off for him. And Arthur as well. It's like, how stupid could you guys be? And good on the team that they actually suspended them and they said, you know what, you're not playing, you're not even in the stands. And you know what? Juve is evil enough to have, in the past, they would have probably, if they were closer to the Scudetto, they would have probably started them because they don't care. But I give them my indigestion of the week because you really sabotaged Juventus, because I looked at Juventus' starting lineup and they had Danilo in the midfield, right? So you're not helping a team that, you know, has a young coach, has been having a subpar season to their standards. They're used to being in first place. They're not used to being in fourth. Let me tell you that much.
Yeah.
And Unibrow is not happy that they're in fourth. But, you know, you mix that together with, you know, a Ronaldo that's, you know, I'm not saying that he's underperforming. He's performing, but he's not saving them as much as he saved them the last couple of years. And you're seeing it now. There's trouble in the midfield. There's trouble defensively. You know, Torino scoring 2 goals on you. There's some cracks in that armor, right?
Torino is battling.
Torino struggles to score goals. So
yeah,
watch that game as well, and was not impressed at Juventus as well.
You know, I love it, Steve. We're 40 minutes in, and we've been just talking about this game in Serie A, and let's go through these questions. I see you already gave us your indigestion of the week. That was your brioche. You feel good that they actually penalized these players that were supposedly partying. So I think I gotta give my hats off to that, where it's like they needed to do, especially the way it come out of the news. So podcast questions on Patreon, Stevie P. First question to Husney saying, hello, Vinny and Steve. As I feared, our home form is a big worry for the remaining games. Theo has not been performing up to expectations. Would Della be needed on left back to take the heat off in the next game? Also, how concerned are you guys that we won't make top 4? Forza Milan. No, I don't think I would put in Dalla in this situation, Steve. I don't know. I remember one point you were saying, like, give me all these players you want to give me for free and they'll help me, but 9 games remaining. I know. You know, Theo at the left back did not have the best of performances last couple of games, but I wouldn't pull the plug. And you know what? I'll be honest, Steve. That's my indigestion of the week. How people have shit on Theo Hernandez. That's uno scarso, uno bidone. And guys, come.
How quickly things have turned, right? Man. It's what have you done for me lately, generation?
How quickly? It's like first he's no phenomenal. Like I'm gonna shit on his performance, right? But for the guy himself, for what he's done to this team, you know, and yes, you're gonna have these ups and downs, but to call him no bidone, guys, come on, man. And it comes back to the discussion I had with Rafa and Kubani, like what's worse, wrestling Twitter or Milan Twitter? I think what's more toxic? I think I'm more towards the Milan Twitter. It's just incredible, the stuff that I read. I know I'm not on Twitter as much as you, Steve, but it's to his question of, you know, he's saying like the home 4 is worrying. I know you mentioned in the last Patreon podcast, but are you concerned for top 4 or are you still on the same bandwagon for the top 4?
I'm still in second place right now. So
that's right. That's right. So we're the same. We're the same expectations, correct?
Yeah, the same expectations.
Gio saying, keep up the great work, guys. Disappointed in the team performance, especially with Theo. Ever since the Lazio game, he hasn't been the same. He needs to pick up his performance. And for Pioli, he might need some glasses because he couldn't see that Krunic was invisible in the first half. I have my seatbelt fastened for the last 9 games. Forza Milan in the good and in the bad. Krunic... Steve, let's be honest. Krunic's performance. When was the last time you really shot on Krunic? Well, shot. You know, we kept on saying in the last podcast, hey, he's doing his job, right? He wasn't playing like, you know, at a top level. But then when he scored that goal, everybody, Krunic per presidente, you know, it was just an off game, was it not?
I think I'm not gonna find again. Not finding excuses for Pioli. The only thing that I can think about for him starting Krunic at that left-hand side is either, you know, Rebic not 100% or game fit to give you 90 minutes. Because in the end, and then there's no expectation, yes, but then I go to the side where, you know, I can understand someone who's looking at that lineup. Like, we didn't buy Krunic to pay left wing, guys. So he's putting him there, and if Rebic is 100% and he started Krunic, well then yes, that's on Pioli, right? Remember that Rebic took that absolutely stupid, idiotic red card by talking back to the ref. Is this one half of a penalty? Like
maybe he had already prepared Steve with Krunic on that side because he thought that Rebic
was going to be suspended for 2 games. Yes,
everybody tries to jump to conclusions. Guys, think about the other side of the coin. Maybe this, maybe that. We're not professionals, right? We don't know what's going on at Milanello. And so far, guys, I read out the stats from Pioli. In the end, looking back at the beginning of the season, Milan will be second spot with 9 games remaining. Everybody would have taken that. Am I wrong, Steve?
No.
So, Paulie, good evening, guys. We are at the business end of the campaign where everything is on the line for the last 9 games. There are too many negatives. The team as a whole is not playing well. Too many individual not performing, individual errors, off the field contact distractions. Pioli making poor team selections. Work rate is below par. I could go on and on, but we can focus on the negatives, he says. So what do you guys see lately as the positives for the remainder of the season? Forza Milan. I like this question, Steve, because let's bring a bit of positive in this. Tomori's got to be the positive thing out of all this. Do you have any positive topics?
Not on Saturday at 6:30 in the morning.
You didn't find he played well on...
All 11 did not play.
Okay, but out of all the situations going on with Milan, what can you say as a positive?
After Sunday, 6:30 game, there's absolutely no positive from Milan.
Okay, forget about Saturday's game. Maybe in this, lull of games, do you find any... Tomori has to be the positive, right?
Yeah, he does have to be the positive, but again, there's not enough, right? There's not enough positives. I get you. I get what he's trying to say. He wants to see the glass half full. Yeah, I see the glass at whatever level it's at. No, because you can't. I'm not going to start throwing flowers to people who don't deserve it, right? Milan has not been playing well.
Positive is that we're getting healthy. Nathan's got a point. We're getting healthy. Yeah.
I agree. I didn't think about that. Yes, we're getting healthy, but those healthy players, when it comes to 6:30, 9 o'clock, or 2:45 in the morning, whatever time it is, get your fucking ass ready to play. Leave it out on the field. You have 9 games left, guys. You broke your balls and took all this stupid negativity from every single fan base in Serie A. Every single fan base in Serie A was waiting and salivating for this moment for Milan to drop. And my ask from these players is just leave it out on the field, and please make these people eat their words. That's all I ask for.
That's it. Even Benacer mentioning mentioning Benacer, like we haven't seen the Benacer of old. I'm not sure he deserves the bench, but what is it, Steve? Presidente, because Mezzi and Bizak, they're Algerian, they must know Benacer. So guys, get in contact with him. Tell him, we need him to step up his game. But on the side note, Steve, before I get into the next question, Tonali, can you consider him as a positive for the last maybe 5-6 games? No. On the right path. Can you give me that much? On the right path.
On the right path, but again, for me, this year for Tonali is a mulligan.
I like it. The golfing terminology. Ryan Percy saying, well, that was a terrible display from Milan against Samp. What on earth does Pioli seek in Krunic and Castillejo over players like Kalulu and Hauge? Not only do these 2 Muppets do nothing for us right now, but also they are clearly not in the long-term plans for the club. It makes no sense to try to squeeze them into positions that do not make sense versus playing our young and more talented players. Ryan, we did touch base on this one here. We get the frustration, we get the comments, but in the end, we got to look at the other side of the coin where it's like, there's got to be something that's happening at the training, why Pioli decided this. And as Steve was mentioning before in the podcast, is if he was experimenting, unfortunately, this was not the moment to experiment. But we do hear your frustrations, Ryan. I don't know if you have anything to add on this one, Steve. I'm going to move over to Josh.
he has to be the one who select. He gets paid the money to select the players, guys. So he has to evaluate. He has to select. It's not us, So like you see, we have this guy here. We have Mike. Mike, I don't know what Steve was watching. Tomori was solid last game. Yeah, that's.
It was solid because everybody else was shitty, and he was
exactly. I get it. We have Maurizio here. Steve, I don't know. I love you, but it's not how you start; it's how you finish. And the past 3 months, well, that's exactly what I just said right now. So if you're not listening to the podcast, turn up the volume, and it's exactly what I said, Maurizio. You have to. You want to find, Tomori was great and was solid. Yeah, where was Tomori on the back pass? You want to start playing these games, guys. It's like you see the team. You see the team. The team was terrible.
Can't blame Tomori on that back pass.
No, you're not gonna blame him. He's not to blame. But that's the defense dies with you live and die with the way you play defense, right? So there was times where the ball was bouncing. He wasn't getting the ball off the first bounce. He was making the ball bounce. You don't make the ball bounce. You're taught in like AA or you're taught in Pee Wee. Don't make the ball bounce. These are things that I see, guys. I'm sorry. That's the way I watch the game, guys. I'm not gonna say he was phenomenal when he's not, guys.
No, I think that the fact is that everybody was below par, and he was average. And I think because he was average, a notch over everybody. But for me, I will take him as a positive since we signed him, because I didn't want to judge him after one game. So far, so good, and I like how it segues into Josh's question. Steve, Josh, brand new Patreon member. How confident are you that Tomori will be bought by Milan? And do you mind losing players to keep him? I like that second part of that question, Steve. Forget the fact that will we sign him or not. If you needed to sacrifice for Tomori, at what level are you sacrificing for Tomori from what you've seen so far? Out of all the center backs, I guess you would have to get rid of a center back. But would you sell a Romagnoli to keep Tomori? Let's go there.
Look, I think right now everybody's on this Tomori train there, and I get it. He's been playing much better, and Romagnoli injured and not in the best form. But I seriously believe that we need 4 to 5 center backs if you want to play 3 competitions.
And we still have to take into consideration Caldara coming back, right? I know one of the listeners
doesn't look like Atalanta's, but I think if Caldara comes back, they have to evaluate and see if he's someone that magically. I didn't follow Caldara at Atalanta there, but it didn't seem like he got hurt again. So we basically paid for him to get well to go back to Atalanta, and if they don't sign him, they need to find maybe a loan for him, maybe a loan for Gabbia, but you need 4 to 5 center backs, especially with someone at the age of Kajar.
And look what we had to go through this season, right, Steve? And we just played Europa League. Imagine if we went through the Coppa Italia, we went through what if we make Champions League? We're gonna need those quality players.
Yeah, we need an increase in the quality for sure of the center backs. So we're not gonna survive with Kajar at 30, 33, 34 years old, right? So, Romagnoli has to up his game as well, because now the pressure's on, and we're seeing in the comments he's asking even for a pay raise. At a certain point, he wants a pay raise. Hakan wants a pay raise. Kessie wants a pay raise. Donnarumma wants a pay raise. So at a certain point, Milan's going to have to make a decision. And if I bet on something, I would bet that of all the players, it would probably be Romagnoli, the one not to get that we can. Yeah. We have something so far that seems like can replace him and what he's done for us. But the other positions,
it's going to be a sacrifice to be done, that's for sure. Very quickly, VJ on Twitter, why, in your all opinion, does Milan play better away from home than at the San Siro? Honestly, VJ, I don't have an explanation. There's no pressure. There's not any fans, Steve. It's just like crazy coincidence, according to you.
There's no other way to explain it. There's no fans there. There's nothing, right? Is it the stadium that scares them? We have a fucking major problem, man.
And yes, I like how. By the way,
Vince is frozen again.
we did play everybody for April Fools. We did play you all for April Fools because we did get you, and one of our Patreon members, Steve, went up in his contributions because he said we need to pay Stevie P's clause just in case he has to leave. But great joke. I forgot to mention that on the beginning. And the very last but not least, Francis, in all seriousness, is it time to push the panic button?
I don't think it's time to push the panic button. Or you see a game against that we played against Sampdoria. It feels like that. The Presidente who manned the Twitter account this morning said it right. The people are starting to feel like their collar is a bit tighter. That shirt for Milan is very heavy, and it's getting heavier. So, these important games, I'm calling them important games, like game like Sampdoria where you drop 2 points. Now we need a bounce back. I need to see how Milan responds, even if it's against Parma. How do you respond against Parma?
Very good.
Go get those points.
We did speak about our brioche, Steve. For indigestion, I know somebody mentioned this on Twitter, and I found it completely hilarious, but so very true. Steve, who keeps on asking Mirabelli for his opinion and interview him? Like, why?
I don't know.
I just keep on seeing these articles about him. Like, dude, shut up. You put us in the fucking hole. You fooled us, all Milan fans. So please, Mirabelli, just stop talking. Just stop talking. Steve, anything that's indigestion for you? I know you said the brioche about the Juve actually penalizing the players, but any indigestions for you?
Well, the indigestion was the party. The brioche was that they actually penalized them.
Okay. So it was a double take on that one there. Guys, honestly, thank you so very much for joining us every single Monday. Thank you for the downloads. Thank you for the MANSCAPED codes. Thank you for Patreon. Thank you for everything. Stevie P, Saturday, playing at noon. At least it's not 6:30. Poor Gio at 3:30 in the morning, waking up on a Saturday.
For that shit. You see? Like that's what I would love to show the players. I would love to show guys like Gio in California, guys like Milan Club Sydney and Milan Club Melbourne that are waking up or watching games at these retarded hours, and then you perform. All their names should be sent to the players and say, these guys watched the game, watched you play like absolute shit.
But Sonny was very happy because Sonny watched the game directly from Australia, 10 p.m., having a couple of beers just at 6 a.m. the day before. But sorry, Sonny, and keep up the good work. We love the graphics, guys. We hear your comments, too, from all the compliments we're getting he's getting for all the graphics. And Stevie P, thank you for you having the creative genius and him just executing it from there. So thank you for that. Anything in closing, Stevie P?
We need to bounce back against Parma. 9 games left. Every game is important. We need to keep on collecting points, guys. I'm not saying all of them are going to be wins, but let's take this. If we can find some positive in this Sampdoria game, is that we didn't drop all 3 points, and we're still in second place.
Out of 27 points, Steve, you got to get 22. Is that too much? 20. You got to get 22.
Yeah, I think right now, we're at 60 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like 75 to in between 75 and 80 will be that 4th place.
Well, 77 will be the maximum. So yeah, we win every single game because
they need to keep the track, right? So.
Gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us once again. Stay tuned for any kind of specials we're going to be doing. We will talk probably with Patreon members, myself, on Saturday, the pregame. Next Monday, Stevie P and I. Use that code. Follow us. Subscribe. Thanks to Sonny for all the graphics. And in the end, Stevie P, ovunque e sempre.
Forza Milan!
Good night, guys.